so good. So today we're talking about infinite supply. I'm going to watch the clock today. It's 5 after 11 already. Okay. You know, supply, when we learn metaphysics, we learn supply as this idea of substance, this amorphous kind of invisible, unbound, unprecedented, omniscient energy of this universe. It is universe. It isn't in the universe. It is universe. It is, I mean, the words are too constrictive to describe supply. We have come to the idea that it's infinite because we can't know it. I mean, there's nothing that can contain it. And yet everything that's within it is alive and functioning by means of it. So therefore every piece of creation is it, draws from the intelligence from which it itself was created and born. And this is something, spiritually speaking, we all have in common that binds us together and binds us inherently to what we often refer to as our inherent birthright. What is that? It's intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and it's freedom from ignorance. And therefore, it's an ability and desire that is born within us to move out in expression and acquisition, in declaration and in enjoyment of everything that moves through us as we see it reflected back to us in our world of our affairs, or in this physical realm or third dimension. Now, when we talk about supply and the law of circulation and the flow of life's good, we cannot not include money in that. And you know, spiritual people, and I've found this even in the Course, you know, we talk a lot about principle. We start to understand, which is groundbreakingly important, to understand the natural laws in the universe and how they work in our lives, like the law of circulation, the law of supply, the law of giving and receiving, of correspondence, attraction, growth, etc. The law of cause and effect. But we can never really embody what it is we can imagine to the far-reaching boundaries of our own imagination until we actually demonstrate it first in our imagination and take the action step to act as if in our own life, as if it already does exist, truly exist. Quick example. Reverend Trish said here, I'm going to send a big check from the Universal Bank to everybody in the Course. Fill it out. It's to you. It's from you, because you are the universe. Write an amount. Keep it where you can see it. And every time you look at it, imagine that it's actually in the bank. Now, this may seem like little things that may or may not work in your life, but until we can step more fully into acting as if and allowing our imagination to pull us forward into the expansiveness of consciousness that is living within us and is unprecedented and unconditional, we can never expand into the experience of the life that we can imagine now and that we will imagine tomorrow or 5 years from now or whenever, playing in, of course, the arena of time and space as I speak. John Randolph Price said, money is an effect, and when you concentrate on the effect, you're forgetting the cause, and when you're forgetting the cause, you diminish the effect. Right? So this is the real core principle of metaphysics. Lean into the cause. Lean into that which is inspiring itself and moving upon the law of its own being with great love and givingness to expand and create. This is the cause. This is our own thought in our own mind. This is the inherent spirit of enthusiasm within us that is always kind of knocking at our door, you know, saying, come on, open up, let's do this. This is what we're doing in this community. We're opening up. We're not just staying stuck in an old idea. I have an illustrative story I wanted to share with you. It kind of illustrates the effect side of leaning into the effect and leaning into the cause. And it's about a little boy who came up to his mother in the kitchen one evening while she was fixing supper. And he handed her a piece of paper that had writing on it. So she took a look. And this is what it said. For cutting the grass, $5. For cleaning up my room this week, $1. For going to the store for you, 50 cents. Babysitting my kid brother while you went shopping, 25 cents. Taking out the garbage, $1. For getting a good report card, $5. For cleaning up and raking the yard, $2. You owe me $14.75. Well, his mother looked at him standing there, and the boy could see the memories flashing through her mind. She picked up the pen, turned over the paper he'd written on, and this is what she wrote. For the 9 months I carried you while you were growing inside me, no charge. For all the nights that I've sat up with you, doctored and prayed for you, no charge. For all the trying times, all the tears that you've caused through the years, no charge. For all the nights that were filled with dread, and for the worries I knew were ahead, no charge. For the toys, food, clothes, and even wiping your nose, no charge. Son, when you add it up, the cost of my love is no charge. Well, when the boy finished reading what his mother had written, there were big tears in his eyes. And he looked straight at his mother and said, Mom, I sure do love you. And then he took the pen and in great big letters he wrote, paid in full. Now, this came out on the minister's listserv, and one of the ministers wrote back and said this, oh, but think of the powerful spiritual tools that could be highlighted if this story was tweaked just a bit. And instead, the mother looked at her son standing there before her with an invoice in her hand and smiled widely and said, thank you so much for your valuable contribution to our family. All that you do to help us out is very much appreciated and worth every penny and so much more. To which this minister, Reverend Noel McGuinness, said, right there she would be demonstrating unconditional love, the law of circulation, abundance, and the power of gratitude. What a wonderful experience for both. No guilt, no one-upmanship, and no need for forgiveness. This is about infinite supply. The law of circulation and the flow of our life's good. What expanded consciousness are we to lean into in order to have the feeling within us that you just had as I read that last piece from Reverend Noel? Holmes said the law of cause and effect works sometimes with apparent slowness as we lean into the cause, but always with sureness, and eventually we shall understand that all human bondage is truly an invention of ignorance. There's an article I wanted to share with you. It's called The Awe Delusion. And afterwards, I'm going to invite Reverend Teresa forward. This article will share two different ideas about being in awe as to whether we need a God or we don't need a God, whether there is a God or there isn't a God, and what actually can the natural laws of this universe provide us just through the nature of its own being. And can we live and lean into the cause back of all life, which is always operating naturally as nature all around us? Can we do that? And this is the article. It says, what does the magnificence of the universe have to do with God? This article came from an interview with a 64-year-old woman who completed her 110-mile swim from Cuba to Florida back in September of 2013. The purpose for the interview was for it to be a motivational reflection on the triumph of will over age. I was attracted to the article. The interview began with the swimmer announcing, this is the first thing she said to the interviewer, "I am an atheist." To which the interviewer quickly responded, "But you are in awe." The swimmer also quickly retorted, "I don't know why anyone would find a contradiction in that." And went on, "I can stand at the beach's edge with the most devout Christian, Jew, Buddhist, go on down the line and weep with the beauty of this universe and be moved by all of humanity. All the billions of people who have lived before us, who have loved and have hurt and have suffered. So to me, my definition of God is humanity and is the love of humanity." The interviewer promptly said, "Well, I don't call you an atheist then. I think if you believe in the awe and the wonder and the mystery, then that is what God is." To which the author of the article shared a few ideas. He said, "This is a divisiveness within many, a type of soft bigotry in those who cannot conceive of how someone can be in awe without believing in supernatural sources of wonder. Why would anyone think that?" And he did some experiments, and the statistics of the outcomes show that people that are awe-prone have been cited to be more comfortable with uncertainty and are less likely to need cognitive insurance in some kind of explanation. They are more comfortable revising existing mental beliefs to assimilate novel information. The statistics also reveal that in order to reduce the anxiety of awe-inspiring experiences, people who are not prone to awe engage in a process that some have named agenticity, or the tendency to believe that the world is controlled by invisible intentional agents, or agent. And therefore concluded that in the moment of awe, some of the fear and trembling might be mitigated by perceiving an author's hand in the experience. And that the larger implications of these findings show that feeling the emotion elicits uncertainty and a subsequent desire to resolve that feeling by explaining events in terms of purpose-driven causal agents. The last of which he said, awe-prone people are less likely to show an effect since the uncertainty that they feel is not aversive. This is the mystery. And what is the mysterious about infinite supply, in many ways, in our experience, is that it's natural. That's a mystery to us. Because we lean into the effect. We lean into the tangible demonstration. As metaphysicians, we learn that the author's hand is nature's laws, and nothing more and nothing less. So I'm going to ask Reverend Teresa to come forward. Now, how she fits into this, in my mind, is that she's a very gifted individual who thinks in a very open-ended way. And she's had an experience of raising her daughter through homeschooling and an experience of moving through ministerial school in a way that fills me with awe and leaves me almost in the mystery. But what I know is she moves within the nature of her own being, and she listens to the guidance. And I think when we're talking about infinite supply, and we're talking about opening to the flow of life's good, this is our essential next step to consider on the path of our spiritual development. Teresa.
Gee, I'm not sure what to say. There's a few examples I definitely had.
It's on.
Yeah. Yes, I homeschooled my daughter till grade 10. She learned to read
through music, not through outside information. She wanted to sing, and she sang with the group, and the big girls turned her pages, pointed to the words, and one day she could read any book in chapters. But you refer to and now she's in her last semester in engineering. She only had 1 hour a week of traditional education. I hired someone to let her know what other children were learning. When she went in school in grade 10, she had to be tested. She was in the top 2% of all core subjects in the whole country. So there's just a demonstration. We did nothing but horseback ride and music and have fun, and 1 hour a week with no homework. So I don't know, that was because when she learned, she was reaching. For me, my own demonstration with ministry is I have what's called scotopic sensory. That's when words are in front of me, even just signs as I drive. There's movement. And it never stops. Therefore, my brain takes a long time to slow it down enough where I know what I've just read. So I even go under signs in foreign cities. Oh boy. I miss terms all the time because it takes a while for me to decipher it. Now, when I took my ministry exam, I did not read one book. But just before my exam, I met someone who indirectly I had the hots for. So all of a sudden I'm listening to what he's got to say. He wasn't interested in me, but I was listening to what he had to say, and he taught me a form of reading where you cross your eyes and you spend no more than a second on every page. And you bypass the conscious mind, you go to the subconscious mind, and just know the information is in there. So 2 weeks before my exam, I read this many books, just a second on each page, and I said, yeah, this is a joke. There's no way I can get through this thing. And on my final exam, I ended up getting 96 out of 100, but it took me like 16 hours to do the exam, and everybody else took 2. I did ask for a time allowance. Now that was one of the highest scores ever out of any of the ministers. So the information was in there. I do believe in natural learning. I see it, I saw it, and I took the risk of it with my daughter hugely. People would constantly say, what are you doing? She's a bright child. I had a grade 1 dropout. Her reasons were good. We followed our hearts. And that faith and that knowing that there is another way, just being open to the void of that and the discomfort of that is huge. And in my experience, the benefit is astronomical.
My awe never lessens every time I hear that story. It's almost one of disbelief. When she told me she'd never read one book in ministerial school, she had to go write the exam, and I had my own experience of what I went through, and I don't know if I'm ADD or what I am, but I was a grade 11 dropout. I didn't like, doing that kind of stuff either. But I didn't, I just thought I had to do stuff. But that's amazing. Wow. So for me, that's just a perfect summary. And thank you for opening your life for people to hold that space with you in your experience, that there is an infinite knowingness and intelligence within us. It's natural. Our nature can allow us to expand and explore the perimeters of our own belief system, our own experience of life, of relationship. One of the things that Teresa said to me on the phone when we were discussing today was, it's an inside-out way of learning. That when kids today get bored, you just give them more information. And it's not that. They need to have that space where they are bored, because now they're open for something new. But let them reach for it. Let them, let you, let me decide for ourselves, what is this next thing we are reaching for to reveal that is already existing within us. It's an exciting proposition. It fills me with inspiration and awe and possibility and wonder. And it allows me to just be more gentle with myself when I don't know or think I need to know, or when I think I need to hold on to something or find a reason or find an answer or find a solution or ask a new question or whatever it is that I'm up to that is causing me a feeling of dis-ease and does not enable me to flow in alignment with life's good and the natural order of life, which is whole, complete, and perfect. That's what I think about. I think about your story. I do. And like this swimmer, I can stand on the beach and I can be in awe with the beauty. I don't need to have an idea, a fixed idea of what God is, because God is everywhere. It is me, it is you, it is us, forever and ever, amen. And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you.